How's it going, guys? So, for this week, we got another One Piece chapter, and this one's chapter 4. We start right off where we left off from chapter 3, where Luffy had just beaten up Helmeppo. We don't get any cover art for this chapter. I'm always a sucker for the cover art, so well, I'm a little sad this week. We get a nice close-up of Helmeppo vowing revenge via his quote-unquote daddy. He's got quite the ugly crying mug right here. A little bit later, we do get a pretty cool panel of right before Axe-Hand Morgan's introduction. We get this cool panel of Axe-Hand facing the window having a discussion about tribute money being paid to him from the townsfolk. And I really like how Oda does his hatch work here on the desk. You can see his hatch lines all go towards the vanishing point of perspective in here. So it's like, and it's all very nice, neat, and not overlapping. It's not cross-hatching. And I imagine he has to use some sort of a ruler for that. They're just so close to not intersect. I do like how you can get a judgment of value and shading in here from the window. Shortly after that, Luffy revisits Zoro on the old wooden post. Tries to just come right out with it and tell him, join my pirate crew. And Zoro obviously refuses because he's got other plans. But the best part of this scene is when Luffy decides he's not going to accept Zoro's refusal. He refuses his refusal. I love how Oda draws his silly little reaction faces here. But regardless of this, Luffy thinks if he can get Zoro his swords that he might join his pirate crew. So what does he do? He runs right into the Marine base, because why not? It's Luffy. From here, we get a formal introduction to Axe-Hand Morgan with an introductory panel and all. I don't know if Oda just goes all out on his metallic texture rendering or something. Morgan's axe hand, which is it's kind of funny that's an actual axe hand. The textures look great. He finally used a bit of cross-hatching on the shading of the axe there. And you can see the cylindrical hatchwork of the post area too. I don't know if he just loves metallic texture rendering or if he's just really good at that specifically, or if it's just he really likes to get creative with his weapons. I'm not entirely sure. But the musculature on Axe-Hand Morgan's some of the best we've seen so far. It's very comic book-esque. Axe-Hand's throwing a fit up on top of the Navy base, and Luffy can hear him throwing a fit. And he can't find anyone else around to ask where the swords are, despite him being a pirate and not being allowed in a Navy base. So, of course, Luffy does what Luffy does, and he decides to use his gum powers, his rubber powers, to shoot his arm up to the top of the Marine base and rocket himself all the way up to the top. Now, of course, we have what we mentioned before in previous chapters, but a little bit different on this one. We have the hatchwork value shading to show intensity in motion when he stretches his arm out to the top. But one of my favorite parts is probably this panel right here where Luffy is drawn basically completely out of hatch lines. It definitely shows like a violent or very sudden tension and very sudden movement. And it does it very, very well. Luffy shoots all the way up to the top, and to stop himself from overshooting right over the tower, he grabs the ropes holding up Axe-Hand's statue that his men were erecting of him that he was so uptight about. Luffy grabs it to stop himself from falling off, which pulls all the Marines forward and makes the statue fall off the edge and crack in half. But then we have this awesome panel right here of Luffy just saying, sorry. And everyone's just got the silly, surprised exclamation point faces on, which is hilarious to me because everything's drawn so goofy in it, except for the statue that, still looks really good with the hatchwork shading and the cracks. He didn't have to go this hard at all on the statue. While all this is happening, Kobe is trying to do the smart thing and get Zoro free. He's upset that the Marines wrongfully imprisoned Zoro in a previous chapter, and he can't stand to see the immorality of these Marines. So, rightfully so, he tries to free Roronoa Zoro, which at this point, he's just a pirate hunter. He's a bounty hunter. So he's not even technically a criminal at all. He just defied Axe-Hand Morgan. And what does Kobe get for this? Not only shot at, but he gets shot by the Marines. And Zoro just throws a mean mugging face up at the Marines for this. And I love the detail and the little vein in his cheek. You can see that he's pissed. And that's the end of this chapter. My favorite panel, absolutely, from this one, has to be the one of Luffy made out of like these little hatch lines. I don't know if he like drew all the lines and that he must have like penciled in all the lines and then hatched them all in ink or something. I don't know how he did it, but it looks fresh. And it has the exact effect that you would want from that. But I'm very curious to see how Oda draws Zoro not tied up to a wooden post, hopefully in the next chapter. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me what your favorite panel of this chapter was. I thought this one was good as always, but I'm kind of hoping for something a little more next chapter. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for this video. If you guys want to keep following along and checking out Oda's cool artwork on his chapters with me, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.